friends. Oh, shit. Hi. Hey. Oh, we have a good video today. Your girl had a revelation. I have this video. I fixed the subtitles. Is this okay? Fixed the subtitles, and I actually used good old handy whiteboard that I always talk about using. But when I was sitting down, I feel like it should be louder so you can hear my annoying voice. Sorry. I was sitting down and I was walking through the introductions, and almost instantly I was like, uh-oh, I made a really big no. And I noticed that when I was reacting to it sort of tired and shit yesterday, I noticed that I was super reactive. I don't know if anybody else noticed. I was like super reactive. I was like, why am I so reactive of this man? I don't know. Either I'm missing something, because it always happens that way. If I ever have a reaction like that, it's because either I don't have all the information or I'm projecting, or both. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the problem of evil. Okay. We're going to talk about how, if you're religious, how you can enter these debates. We good? Okay. You can enter these debates without being accused of circular logic. Your girl has integrated. Okay. If you have a hard time with top-down thinking, contemplating the theoretical concepts, maybe they stress you out, this video isn't for you. Okay, you can watch the next one. I like these videos because I'm like, ooh, original. Let's go. Okay, love to see it. I watch these debates, and something that always, even when I would be in the debates, I'm just like on YouTube, I'd be like, why do they fall into this trap of circular logic, and why can't they see it? I never assumed they were lying. I know a lot of people think that. It's very tricky to operate in another framework, and like, well, it is and it isn't, right? Okay, it is and it isn't. For some people, it's tricky. Speaking of, I don't mean to get too off topic. It's all correlated. But just out of curiosity, when did you guys find out Santa wasn't real? Just wondering. I'm not saying, I'm rooting for my religious folks. I actually have a really good way to solve this whole problem. Okay, I come with love. I probably shouldn't have said the Santa thing right after that, but like, just out of curiosity, does anybody remember the age they were? Because I had a little bit of an enlightenment, semi-existential. I don't know if it would be a crisis, but I was thinking about developmental stages as I was summarizing these positions. More on that later. But I was like, if I had to categorize the way we're thinking, like Nadim, Jim Bob, and Tariq, I'm like, if I had to summarize what developmental stage, I was like, when did we have beliefs? When did we distinguish between imaginary, Santa in particular? Because I feel like that's a well-known developmental period. And it's not just like, oh, you have to tell your kids that Santa doesn't exist, or they find out he doesn't exist. It's, what can you take from it? And how do you keep like the spirit alive with the truth? Very important time, I feel like, but what? He isn't real? I'm so sorry. I found out at 5. Okay, 5 high beaten cheeks. No, but seriously, we all need to stay serious right now, okay? It's important. I feel like it is. I'll let you guys answer that while I move to the next part, okay? Religious, being able to not get accused of circular logic. This, debate, the first like, each person speaking once. I don't know if I would call it the introduction because I think they had a debate somewhere else and I just haven't seen it. Um, Probably should have done that work beforehand, but no. Sorry, I can hear my mother. She's singing. Okay, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so after they all spoke, I was like, I know what you're saying, but I don't think people know what you're saying. And it's not because people are stupid. I know a lot of people like to attribute that. But it's like at one point, Jim Bob's talking about a categorical error. And although that's like kind of true, it's also not true. And it's like, how can we get away from this sort of separated frameworks? Because you're asking people that can't even conceptualize what it's like to notice when they have a circular argument. Those people, like audience that maybe are more religious, you're asking them to believe something that they fundamentally can't in their worldview, not because of stupidity. And I don't even know if it would be ignorance. Maybe ignorance. But then the reverse is also true. It's like when I see atheists in particular, or some people that you don't even know their position, you just know they're not religious, and they just love to attack people that are religious. And it's like, they don't see any value in religion. How did we get here? Why? I don't like it. Not because I'm like, go religion, but because we need religion. As we need science. It's like, why do we need religion? Well, you guys know how I always say there's a language that doesn't exist, and it like actually doesn't exist. I'm not trying to be silly when I say that. I mean, it does not exist. It's like religion gets to it, but the way that people use religion right now is incorrect, which sounds incredibly pretentious of me to say. Like, don't get me wrong. I know that sounds so fucking pretentious. But when you get it, and you go backwards, it's like, it's just like cute how people argue it, you know? And I'm like, how can we get them to get that? And is this enlightenment or consciousness? Yeah. Are my religious friends going to have to dance with me for a moment? Yes. Okay. I swear I'm not losing my mind right now. Okay. I did the rationality test or reality test. You know, the reason I don't do videos like this every day is for that reason. Okay. I take a lot of pride in this. But before we get there, okay, we were talking about Santa. I'm asking the question about Santa, okay, because I remembered knowing that Santa wasn't real at 3 or 4. And I was like, I Googled it. I was like, when do kids find out? And it was like 8 or 9. And I was like, wait, what? And then I fell down a rabbit hole. And I was like, I'm not familiar with meme culture. I know some memes and stuff, but I was reading books. Not that I'm like cool or anything. I was a loser, a nerd. Um, but I feel like the meme culture was really prevalent amongst people that played video games like all the time or was in Reddit. Like I just started using Reddit. And so like GIFs are kind of like memes. They could be the same. And it's like if I were to ask somebody, hey, can you find me a meme of this? Most of the population probably could, but I'm not familiar. So forgive me if I end up saying something that resembles one. Let me know, okay? But I was like thinking to myself, hold on. Memes. What did I say right before memes? Santa. Oh, yes. Okay. So I was like, how old are people when they find out Santa isn't real? And how did you find out? And I went down the rabbit hole. I found out because I noticed that the handwriting on the note was my mom's handwriting. I should have been a lawyer. Trust me, I beat myself up about it often. Most kids are asking why, and I'm telling you why something is, okay? Like the pimp glasses. Okay, anyways. Little redheaded little fuck. Anyways, I went down this meme and it was like when you suddenly develop consciousness at 4. And I was like, what are people's experiences of consciousness? Just out of curiosity, do you guys have a memory that sticks out to you that you realized you were real? I remember looking at my hands and then realizing that people, there's a lot of people on this earth, and then like zoomed out, you can see the earth in space, but then like, oh, I heard a dog. Sorry. Okay. It's zoomed out space and then a TV. And it's an experience that I don't know how to articulate in words, but knowing like self, others, humanity, and what life really is, like life's meaning. And I know that I was 4 when that happened, or not 4, 3. And then I had it again because it was a dream in particular. I remember having it again when we had just moved to our new house. I remember because my dad was painting our bedroom. It had a chute in it. Do you guys know the chute where you put the clothes in and it just like goes downstairs? I thought it was the biggest mansion you could think of. Whatever. Anyways, I was like, I recognized self, others, all this stuff when I was really young. And so I'm like thinking to myself, okay, what does religion get right? Okay, I'm going to be jumping. Forgive me. Have a leap of faith. Okay, it'll make sense in the end. Which is like ironic right now. You'll get it later. Okay, but I'm just like, what's true about religion? And this was a question that I had in this moment writing on this whiteboard, but it's also a question that I had when I was 5. Like we had just moved there. It was when I developed the OCD thing for like a minute. I was like, God's going to kill me if I don't step on this crack. Why would God kill me for not doing something so tedious? Loser. I knew God was gaslighting from a young age. Okay, this isn't a new thing. I used to walk around with my pacifier and a sippy cup, and I would take the pacifier out. Like, I don't like that. I don't like it. Okay, so I've been a fucking miserable bitch for a while. But anyways, then I had this question while I'm sitting here. And I was like, what makes religion correct? And why was I getting so mad at Jim Bob yesterday? I was like, oh, I'm clearly projecting a version of myself. Try to follow me. Okay. I am projecting a version of myself that is having a difficult time coming to terms with something. So I put it onto somebody else. What do I mean by that? Because that sucked. When I was talking about things that trigger me in life, it's when smart people say stupid. I'm just kidding. It's when smart people are not specific enough. Hold on, it gets worse. They're not specific enough and their language is unclear. And if we want to evolve people, we need to have the same message. Why do you think I'd be projecting feelings of that sort? Because I have a standard for myself that I get really mad often that I cannot meet because of that language barrier that doesn't even exist. Why the fuck do I get mad at me? Why do I get mad at them? And I'm like, we have capacity, okay? Life is fragile. And it's like, I don't like, there's something about it that you say something that triggers uncomfortable feelings about myself. Okay. But it comes out as really unjustified, if I don't say so myself. What would you call them? Unjustified comments. Okay. I knew halfway through that, you're tired, you're reactive, probably not going to like it. And you probably should get off. And I did. And this brings me, well, wait. So, hold on, I have to lie on that before I go into the concept of evil. But how do I want to land that? Oh, I can take an L. Okay, we're starting over. New perspective. Probably should have said that in the beginning. Concept of evil. Okay, concept of evil. We're going to be talking about projection because I bring it up often. And although it's incredibly embarrassing, authenticity, truth, honesty, whatever you want to call it, is my grounding principle. And if me saying shit like that can spark it in somebody else, I think we'll evolve. Okay. It sounds so stupid. Okay. Oh, you see shit like that in other people. Blah, blah, blah. I'm telling y'all, it's literally the answer to most of the world's problems. I'll put it in another perspective for those that are maybe religious. And if you're not religious, you might become religious when I explain this. Thank you for the super chat. Keep your girl off OnlyFans one chat at a time. But why you get mad at that person that triggers you? I get mad because, why do you get mad at that person that triggers you? Because I have not integrated or come to terms with those feelings. Okay, I'm a work in progress. But if I do come to terms with those feelings about myself, I wouldn't be projecting, right? And so I think that answers your question. Love you. Okay. So concept of evil. I have a hot take, and it's that everything bad in the world is the projected self, which is evil. And in order to, and this is the part where I'm struggling, in order for God to be true, we need to integrate that. This is going to, okay. Evil is the projected self. If you don't want to see evil in the world, you need to stop projecting. Every single tragedy in this world comes from people unconsciously putting evil, unconsciously acting on a self-righteous belief that this is truth, whatever that means. I'm going to expound on it. Okay, so everybody has, sorry, I know it's fucking popping. Okay, evil, in order to eradicate evil, for those that have been watching me, I say often that evil doesn't exist. This will probably explain it to you, okay? Whenever I'm in a debate and people are like, how do you not believe in evil? It becomes very apparent to me that this is one of my extremely multi-dimensional but all-encompassing beliefs that I believe is true. More on that later. Okay, so the self and evil. As of the recent election, we're seeing a lot of people say things like, I need to cut off all these people that supported Trump and blah, 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 blah. Anytime there's moral outrage, it's people, in terms of like TikTok, let's say, just to keep it simple, grounded. When there's moral outrage, hearing people's opinion on it, because, right, that's all it really is. It's not fact, it's an opinion. They are telling us that they have not integrated their evil yet. They have not integrated their dark self. You know, I feel like sometimes when I hear people talk about evil or whatever, they talk about it so distantly. They try to detach themselves from it. That could never be me. I would never do something like that. Right? And where has that led? You want to know where true degeneracy stems from? Unfortunately, if this is the first time you're hearing it, I'm sorry I can't say it in like a more I don't know, like a more, like an easier way to put it. Or like spiritual, something that can move us all. Okay, it sounds like I'm probably being pretentious. I'm not, I swear. I believe in good. When people cannot identify what they're doing, projection, then how do they even understand what is true? When I had all those moral dilemmas that absolutely shattered everything I knew about the world, I was 21. I talk about it often, but when you realize that you should never make, or one of my like truth principles, if you will. Sorry, like I said, we're going to be going around. It'll all come together, I hope. One of my grounding things that I know to be absolutely true is that you can never understand exactly why somebody does a certain behavior. Whether it's, oh my God, my friend's always late to my party and here she goes. She's probably doing X, Y. You can't do that. It's not true. Seems obvious, but I mean ever. Like you can never do it, even in a court of law. Even in a court of law. It's like we have standards to figure out if somebody's competent. They're not working. They don't work. And oftentimes you are acting on a retribution standard, like you deserve, like let's say, okay, you're the victim, somebody comes into your home, deletes parents, right? They find him or her guilty. the person that did it guilty. The jury comes to the understanding that they knew exactly what they were doing, bought the gun, had intent, shot them. More often than not, it's not true. I know. When you see big things blow up in the media, they almost always are not true. And it's like, well, what in the flying fuck? I know. I had to deal with that. I realized that people oftentimes, in many different scenarios that I can't think of in the moment, they weren't. Every time I would try to go to speak about needing help with XYZ, I was met with this same vitriol. I don't know how else to explain it. Like self-righteousness, that this is how you're supposed to do something. And I was like, this is not true. And the only people that seemed like they got it were religious. Now, I'm not saying all of this to be like, I'm losing my mind. Now I'm religious, okay? With love. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that religion has to be like, okay. Right now, when you hear people who have an atheist and Christian nationalism debate, whatever, it always comes down to having to figure out if God exists. Right now, you have the atheists who are like, this is just a delusion, right? This is just a make-believe myth like Santa. But then you have a lot of religious people that are like, we don't believe in the magic. We believe in the utility of something else. Whatever that is. It's like an intuitive feeling. And so based on all of the truths, because we have many different types that require different measurements and whatever, which one is the ultimate truth? Like, which one is the truth that matters? And I could sit here and break down all the different fucking moral morality frameworks. And I could break all of that down. But I did that for like 9 years. All up here. All up here. No, but like also through action. And it came clear to me that like people don't realize that things can be true at the same time. Like more than one thing. And oftentimes you'll hear, well, there can only be one truth. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Thai greatness. That's why Gus said, let God be God and you be you. You are God. You are God. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. That also sounds ego as fuck, but I swear it's not. So you have the atheists that fail to step into the worldview. Then you also have religious people who think that atheists are dead inside nihilists, Nietzsche or not. And I was like, what's the best way to demonstrate this? And I was thinking about memes. And do you guys remember that meme that was like, what I do, what my parents think I do, what my friends think I do, what society thinks I do, what I actually do? We're operating on that, kind of. And I'll give the example I always give this example, but I'm consistent. Okay. We need to figure out how to help somebody. I don't know if that would be our actual action. Okay. I call crisis and police officers because family member who's dealing with a mental health issue, who doesn't know who they are and whatever and what reality is looking to purchase a gun, writing all over the walls saying he needs to deliver us from whatever, right? Cops show up. They end up taking person to hospital. Hospital observes them, says they seem calm and fine, releases them back. Okay. They end up they observe them in the hospital. They end up coming out. They try to murder. Person presses charges. Person ends up in the court of law, and they deem them competent. Okay. Is it true that person was going to kill a family member? Yes. People don't have it makes it's hard for people to want to call the cops on people they're related to when they know it's a mental health issue, right? You have to assume that people are more often than not good, okay? I know later it'll make sense when we get to the evil, but that's one perspective. You have the external perspective, which is the police officers realize that person's in danger, but this person doesn't need to go to jail. They need to go to a hospital. No crime was committed. True. Goes to the hospital. Doctors observe and realize that they're calm, okay? Releases them back into the home with the other person, but they don't think about the other person, right? Person ends up committing the act because in their reality, in order to save their family member, they had to die. And if you can't contemplate how somebody gets to that mindset, you're putting evil in the world. Okay, just try to hold with what I'm telling you. Okay, jury finds them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Also another perspective. That, my friends, is how you can hold truths about the outcome in many different ways. And they are all true. And the one that is most observable ended up being the most harmful one in the sequence, right? Because if they wouldn't have been released actively psychotic, that wouldn't have happened, arguably. Okay, hypothetically. I'm not ranting. I'm just trying to think out loud. Thank you for the super chat. Yes. Okay, wait. Oh, shit. Excel Self says, there is no such thing as truth, only what's convenient at the time. It is always what's more convenient at the time, always. Evil, good, it's not even about morality. It's just who is judging. LOL. Okay. Love this. So when I say that most people are projecting their evil self into the world, it is distorting their reality. And it's like, well, how the flying, believe me, I know it sounds insane. I would have told you it was insane too. But when you realize that people just want to blame somebody for a situation It's because they don't want to take accountability for their actions unconsciously, which is a wild concept, I know. Okay. Maybe not wild for my older folks, but or my enlightened folks, but truth really doesn't exist. And before you write me off as some postmodernist, Marxist, whatever, I don't mean it that way. I genuinely don't. Truth is only true to those that experience it. And I wrote down on this whiteboard, but I needed more room. Experiential truth, which is you experience it. When I would try to detail experiences like this, like my actual personal one, I met with, even recently, you're lying. Okay, you're lying. No, just dead inside, quite honestly. So even when I tell the truth about this scenario, people can't even fathom it. They cannot even fathom that actually being true. And that's because they're operating on a dichotomy, which is not true. I know this is it'll make sense. Okay, just follow me, like the video if you haven't already. Hang with me, okay? The only truth that would be enough evidence for somebody is that I had to die. Okay, that's the only way they would maybe believe it. And even then, they probably would blame that person for being sadistic. Oh, they had a crazy childhood. I don't know if you need to hear this, but although yes, more often than not, parents are trying to help child. And we need to operate that way, because when you write it off as, oh, it's just their fault, you're doing the thing. You're projecting an unconscious version of yourself that you cannot accept. And so when I hear people who are religious say you need to, forgive me. Okay, what do you guys say? It's like, God is almighty. Sorry. Or like God is truth, or it could be so many different variations. When you integrate evil, you transcend. I know it sounds spiritual and a little wishy-washy, but it's not. Okay. I lived it. I promise you. When you integrate that version of yourself and you realize that ordinary people become that evil that you're talking about, and you realize that from their perspective, they were, in their reality, they were protecting what they believed to be rights, but like stemming from their fear. 9/11, they thought they were doing the moral thing. Do you guys know how many like innocent civilians, I won't go too dark, but how many people died when America, sorry, I like get nervous to talk about these because they're trigger words for YouTube. I'm on thin ice. Okay. Does anybody know the number of people that were innocently killed? Anybody? Here, let me Google it because I don't even know off the top of my head. America. You'll never see it anywhere. It doesn't make the news because it doesn't fit the narrative of what we believe to be true. Hold on. Let me ask. Sorry, I can hear my dog. So some people say from 500,000 to 1 million to also 7 million. We don't even know for sure. Were we evil? Anyway, hold on, let me get my dog. Hold on. I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. Come here, my baby. What you need? What are you doing? What you need? Do you people party? Need some help? What do you need? She's asleep, right? Come on. Come on, Bree. What you need? You're okay. Come on. She's so cute. Hold on. Watch out. You're okay. Hey. Watch out. Oof. Ow. Sorry. Okay. So, oh shit, I erased that on accident. Well, just thinking, no matter what we do, as long as the majority is safe, then we are okay with everything we do to other humans that aren't us. And that's where, that's one of the reasons, bringing it back before we react to the video, that's, hi honey, you okay? Hi. That's one of the reasons that circular reason, yeah? You okay? Hi. You want to come up? You look so tubby. That's one of the reasons that circular logic, or like if God is all good, for instance, it's one main reason that it never holds up. Yes, honey. Hi. I know you want to come up here. You want to say hi? Come here. Show people. Come here. No, don't do that. Come here. Come here. Come here, mamas. Hi, babe. Hold on. Say hi. Hi, Gorge. Hi. You guys are God. You want to sit? Hi. I love you. I know you don't know what I'm saying, but I pretend you do. Yeah. Okay. So you just brought me to my next point. I'm so glad you said that, CJ. The original meaning of virtue and vice, example being passion is a vice. So another area I wanted to touch on, but I didn't know how to bring it in, is that when you, yes, sweetie, hi. Yes, talk to me. Will you sing? Will you sing? You tired? Need some help? You want the blankie? I'm telling you, she yells at me until I put the blankie on top of her. Blankie. Yes. Okay. So vice. So the original meaning of virtue and vice, example being passion, is a vice. Yes. Oftentimes when you see people that act out, in sin, if you will, or self-indulgence, shit, infidelity, those things. It's because they haven't integrated that self, that dark shadow self. So until you integrate that version of you, you will never be in a state where you could consciously and easily choose not to do something. It's like, Torrie, you're a determinist. I'm a determinist. Yes. But even in hard determinism, and this is a very complicated thing, so I still use choice and control just because it's the easiest way for everybody to follow what I'm saying. Your decisions are going to be influenced by so many things moving simultaneously. Environment, is your family abusive? Do you live alone? To psychological or physical well-being, all these different things, to the point where you might think that it's you developed an addiction and you're just a little shitty fuck. Okay, I'll give you this example because it happened to me recently. I have to get what do you call it? My wisdom teeth pulled, and it's been getting pushed back. But I got sick, and this would have been like my 4th thing of antibiotics. And I am so unaware of I feel like I'm like a husband when it comes to these things. I'm not aware of those feelings to be like, hey, something's wrong, until I'm on my deathbed. And I noticed that I was smoking more, drinking more Starbucks, all those things. And I was consciously aware that it felt like I couldn't even start my morning without those things. And I was like, see what you do, bitch. We'll try again. Whatever. Didn't even think anything of it. I got put on antibiotics recently for the tooth thing. And when I had one more left, which was yesterday, something like yesterday or a day before, the infection came back because the pain started by my tooth again. And so I went to the dentist today, and he gave me another course of antibiotics, and I took one. I have to take another one. The pain went away, and also like clarity, and being like, you know what, I don't want to get alcohol for this stream. And I was like, whoa, I wonder how many, which I'm not drinking like on most of them, but like it would be a thought, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if this is correlated, and I would hate to make that distinction, but I was going to reach out to my doctor about it just to give them the heads up, because I feel like that's knowledge to know. Maybe I'm like, hey, just all of these symptoms could be explained by that. Who knew? Because I'm just like unaware until it gets to a point. But anyways, I was like, I wonder how many people are walking around thinking that they thinking they have an addiction that they just got to snap out of, and really they aren't aware that they can't make a rational decision until they treat that underlying cause. I was like, I wonder how many people are men even that have like corn addictions, and really they have, how often do you hear about men going to the dentist? You don't think they're related? Okay. It's just something to think about. Okay. I'm being a little crazy there, but like it makes you wonder when it comes to the vice and the integration. If I would have integrated to a whole self, wasn't walking around projecting, I would have been self-aware to recognize, hey, this behavior is out of the norm, I guess. when you have addictions to anything, it could be as simple as the same bagel at a place that's way out of the way for work. You're going to be late, but you got to keep going because you have to have a certain whatever the fuck. Okay. You're being driven by a egocentric self. And the thing about egocentrism is that you have an inability to recognize evil in what you do, to the point where you're not going to move from this egocentric phase until you have that realization that, hey, even people that I respect or I would least expect to be evil aren't actually the evil that I thought I knew. And the only way you can do that really is integrating that version of yourself, at least some of it. If you can't do that, you're not moving. And so wait, if you're in that egocentric period, you're driven by survival. So like addictions they're flourishing. And addictions is like how it feels. Okay. So like, somebody pisses you off at work, they really piss you off. That's like a survival operating here. Like, I must get all these needs satiated in order to even contemplate what you want from me. Unbeknownst to them, that when you do, I don't know the best way to say it without it coming off like Buddha. It's like the only way that you can get out of there, it's not by maybe if I go to the gym. No, I mean, yeah, that's legit, but you need to integrate both halves. And I realized when you integrate those halves, the right way to do something becomes obvious. Like instantly. That everybody would get on board with. Compassion, less hatred, it's literally everything that the Bible or any religious text implies or can be interpreted to. And I fear, so sorry, I'm all over the fucking place. The dark self, shadow self, also has the lightness, and the lightness we attribute to God. So if you're religious, you are on the path, baby. But the issue is that, like, what's that one quote that's like, the devil, you know the one, it's like, the devil will make itself so unknown, or it'll show up, you know the one I'm thinking of, where it's like, it's so, like, the greatest trick it can do is convince you that you're not evil or something, or convince you it doesn't exist. And that quote where you're convinced it can't exist or doesn't exist, it's like, so does somebody know the quote? I feel like I need to say it verbatim. The greatest trick the devil has ever done is convince people he doesn't exist. Something like that. Man, if you're just if it could never possibly be you, that's the devil working. Literally. It's like, Tori, what the fuck? Hear me out, okay? I would never do X, Y, and Z because I'm not a sadist. By putting that out into the world, you perpetuate evil. Truly. I know it sounds absurd, bizarre, absurd, but it's true. And so while people I believe in God, so I'm in the clear. You too, though. You too. If anything, I don't know, it's so human for us to externalize a concept like God. Because like God is you. So is that a hot take? That might be. But it's a lot in this narcissistic time. Saying you are God is a lot more. You want to get people on your side. Just say that. No, I don't mean it in that way though. But it's like, it's no reason people don't believe in religion. But if you realize that you don't have to like look up to a God, it's you. You did those things. Like, I'm trying to think of like how does God do, how can God cause suffering in the world? That's like often I hear something in a debate. If he's all good, right? Well, if you integrated the evil, you operate only in good. Evil doesn't exist when you get there. When you get there, you'll hear me in debate say, I don't believe in evil. I don't. I think it's all mental illness. And people are like, how do you fucking get there? If you're not integrated, that falls on the same spectrum. It's all a spectrum. I say mental illness because most people think of like murder and shit. And so it's easier to just think of it that way. But it's like, Patrick says, God is the manifestation of our societal authority. His existence is not the point. It is his task as an idea. Yes. And so, like I was writing out their introduction. I know it took me a long time to get there. Okay, many thoughts. Okay, but it's always good when I have like, it's always good if I can think out loud in these circumstances because I'll watch it back and figure out how to say it better. Okay, we're evolving. This is a time to be alive. Anyways, so I was like, the problem of evil is like important to get a really good foundation on it because it comes up in other ways. It comes up when you're talking about a God that is all-knowing in free will debates. Free will is assuming you have the choice. And if God is all-knowing, okay, so this is the part where this is the good part, but I don't know how to word it. If God is all-knowing, then did you ever really have choice to begin with? If he knew which answer you were going to pick, oh, wait, I know where I'm going. Okay, this is going to be good. This is the profound moment. God is all-knowing, then how do you actually have free will if they already know what you're going to choose? Okay, God knows what you are going to choose because when you integrate, how do I say it? God knows what you are going to choose because until you choose them, you're going to do everything opposite of it, which would be opposite of good. Okay. This is on like a very, very broad, interconnected, okay, scale. Okay. When you scale it down to like specific things, they're very minute. They don't matter that much. What shirt you were going to pick today? It's kind of like how when people sell our information to marketers, how they know how to market to us. They know what you're more likely to click on if they know that you're psychologically down, right? Good old BetterHelp was sued for this shit. Okay. You're actually very predictable when you are not integrated. It's really that simple. And so it's like, if God is all-knowing, why would he create suffering? Because the ultimate truth is experiential truth, which means to live it. How would that work if you didn't figure out how to integrate yourself? Think about it. It's like it seems to those that get it, it's like they get it. And I know it's probably not like, first of all, fucking new age shit, forgive me. But also, I'm not saying it in a way that is probably like convincing. But I don't feel like I have a burden to convince you, you know? Bold. All I can do is tell you the truth, which there is no objective truth, with which sounds crazy. Okay, but just think back to like the four dilemmas. The four dilemmas. And so if you get into a debate and they're like, well, how do we ground anything? Okay, sure, you can ground things in the observable truth, right? But that's assuming that the environment never changes its laws and whatnot, for instance. And they're still human constructs. Get it together. And so why does this part matter? Because it doesn't matter if God is true or not. Actually, it's the most irrational idea to assume that it must be an observable truth. Truly, and I know that sounds crazy. That sounds, Torrie, 5150 me. I know, believe me, I know. But the only truth that is true, I remember thinking this too when I was going through all that stuff. It's like, it's the truth that no matter how I relay the information, they're not going to believe me. And I knew that because it was so out there. And I came to the conclusion that right now in this moment, that the reason they wouldn't believe me is because they haven't integrated the self yet. Because the people that did do that, they get it. They're more compassionate. I'm not saying this to be more tribal or whatever, but when you start to see how often people are projecting this false sense of self onto other people, you realize that like the whole reality that they're operating in doesn't even really exist. I'm not a hippie, I swear to God. It really doesn't exist. And so then it brings me back to principles and how religion is grounding and whatnot, whatever. I don't believe in religion, and the moral principles are correct. But the way that most people operate with them is on a duality, which is inherently illogical. I don't know how to substantiate that. Just trust me, bro. Just trust me, bro. No, I don't smoke weed. I'm very anti-weed. But truly, without sounding like too crazy. No, that'll sound crazy. We need people that follow religion. We need that grounding to transcend. And oftentimes I hear atheists say we must reject it because it's not true. Bold of you to assume your reality is, my G. You know? And it's like, well, can all things be true? Yes, they can. The trick is not trying to find out if something is true. It's not even trying to figure out if something is correct, right, justified. It's none of that. It's none of that. You could like maybe, we have some things in the law that like an insanity plea to like hopefully help those that'll need it. That's assuming that you know exactly why somebody did something. You can't see into somebody else's brain. Not yet. How do you know? Based off of observable behavior? You ask anybody, anybody that's had to take care of somebody with dementia, schizophrenia, any sort of thing that could, a stroke, anything that alters the brain. Have you ever, we've all questioned this, if the news ever caught flack of like the situation, who would be burned at the stake? Could have been either of us. You're like, well, how does that work? Because people are fighting their fucking demons and don't even know it. Because if you integrate that version, if you integrate evil and recognize that evil doesn't exist and that I have projected it, okay, not to be confused, but I can see other times in the world that are tragic or wrong and cause, you're looking at it wrong. You need to look at it. What would drive somebody? What would drive me to do the same thing? You need to look at it that way. That doesn't mean I condone evil, okay? You're still looking, anytime you judge somebody, that's evil, okay? Stop judging them. I know, it's crazy. So when you see Christians that are the most judgmental people, yeah, they just haven't integrated their demons. Bold. Can you blame them though? No, we all do it. And we live in a time where we're so interconnected without doing the work. Okay, we can see what people are doing. They virtue signal. And it's like they want to appear to be a good person. You don't have to convince anybody, like if you are, you know, it radiates. I think I'm on like, not saying that I'm all good, right? I have my toxic things. I'm very open about it. We're working on it, okay? But I say it so that people maybe are like, I wonder if and then boom, you're enlightened. Okay, it's that fast. Dead ass. Dead ass. But I have like 5 friends that have me as their end of life. I forget what it's called. It was like a joke between friends and I. It was like most likely to be X or most likely to be that. And it was like, okay, if you end up becoming a vegetable, for lack of a better word, who's going to decide to pull the plug? They always put me. And it was like a joke. It's funny, but it's like not funny. It's dark, right? But it's like, that's such a, do you know how much like, I am honored, first of all, but that's like not an easy decision to make, you know? We were drunk. I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like people that oftentimes want to put on like a perfect image, they're missing the point. Because I don't think like putting on an image, like virtue signaling, for instance, we can use the election because it's like the most recent in our time. People are going nuts, for lack of a better word, posting all these things about how they're cutting off all their friends who voted for Trump, right? They are banning people. You know, the people are getting divorced over it. Have you heard this shit? Divorces have gone up. I forget the number. Thought it was fascinating. Woman votes for Kamala, man votes for Trump. It's like, what brings people to the decision that that is a logical choice. I can't help but laugh, you know, because I empathize on the fear component, but when you're given inaccurate information and then you're also not integrating that dark self, of course it's a fear. But we need to evolve. I don't know. Jesus Love says, Jesus Christ of Nazareth is God, only one who can redeem you and forgive your sins by his blood. Yeah, which is you. Who forgives your sins? You. But you have to integrate it first. You have to recognize your sins. A lot of people can't even do that. You need to recognize your evil. And then God delivers you from it, which is you. But you cannot get to God without, you know what I mean? You can't get to the God part without doing that work first. And so another thing is, like, when I hear debates of people arguing for Christianity or any religion, really, it's like they want all the credit for, I don't know if it's credit. It's like, this is the right way to set up society, right? And it's like, although I get the vibes, okay, we must recognize the versions that we put out to people. And if we cannot acknowledge the bad that we put out in the world, the negativity, then think about it. Think about it for a moment. If you walk away from even this video being like, oh, this guy on this video, oh, Torrie said not to do that. I'm putting evil. You know what? What does that say about me? What was I about to say about this man? Oh, that he just thinks he's the fucking shit? What does that stem from? Pride? What can you not see in yourself? I cannot acknowledge that I have parts of me that are prideful. Isn't that like the number one sin in the Bible? Follow me for more. Like the video. Wow. When you integrate that and realize that you too will do that, you know to do better the next time. All knowing. It's a hot take. Okay, I'm dancing with it. I think I'm on to something though. Let me know. Let me know. Thank you for the super chat. Keep your girl off OnlyFans one try at a time. Interesting topic. Says, free will is like raising a herd of bucks on a 1,000-acre ranch that's fenced in. The buck has free will, free range, at the same time determined to be fenced in at the same time. I'm on a hunting trip, by the way. That's a really good way to look at it. I see it that way too. I think of it like you have the choice of where to be. Some people will argue not really, but kind of, if you can regulate. But like, anyways, decide on where you are, the environment, control that, and it skyrockets. Everything comes when you have these like realizations about the world. It only is better. And so the funny thing that they lose me in these conversations is how could anybody not think that determinism and religion don't have anything in common? Nothing? You know what makes determinism true? If you integrate God, or I'm sorry, if you integrate the evil component that lives within you. If everybody did this in the world, we would fix most issues, which is wild to think about. And it's like the devil does its greatest trick by making you believe they don't exist. And then integrate that version And then choice is obvious. Or it's like doing the right thing becomes obvious. Choice doesn't matter at that moment. It's like people are so worried about the free will thing when they're operating under survival. And so if you try to contemplate determinism and you're like, of course we have choice. It's like, stop hyperventilating. I love you. But of course it brings up like crazy, not crazy, but just it brings up so much contention and people have such a hard time grappling with it. And in the event that they're engaging in it, people have this, they hold on to something that is what they believe to be true. It's like, keep coping. You know, I'm talking about my determinists or like compatibilists. But when I envision like a similar herd, fenced in, like a similar dynamic with religion and God at the end of it and at the front of it. And then determinism, line, ball, you know, I don't know if that even translates, but it's like they're both actually more alike than they're not. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm insane. Like determinism, no truth, but determinism is true. I guess it's like they're both predictable at a certain point. The concept of chaos is very, very complicated. They fucking confused me forever. And not complicated, just very intricate. Like in the way that the creation is. It's the same. I'm just thinking like, how do you even, like, does there, I don't know, existential crises? What are you guys saying? Saying crazy shit. The devil is in the details. Yes. Yes. If you're somebody that is battling with, you feel like you are just operating on feel-good measures, fucking addictions, corn addiction, something like that, until you integrate, it's never going to feel like, it'll feel like it controls you. But if you integrate those projections, if you notice you doing this, I'm telling you, it's almost instant that you get to like, oh, not everything is what I thought it was, but is at the same time. Oh, wow. Normally I would have a drink at this moment. I don't want one actually. And then you realize that like choice in the way that people understand it is not the, it's not the issue, it's the awareness. And so people like cope in these survival stages. It's like, I made the choice to do that. I know you didn't, but you don't know that. You have less control than you think. I don't know. I didn't land that part. And that came off very pretentious, but I just want people to live better lives. Okay. I feel like it's like the elephant in the room of like the world right now. Okay. These are demons. Maybe. Who knows? I'll have to watch it back. Anytime that you get really reactive by something, you're probably projecting. It's okay. It's not the worst thing. Something about yourself is like, I can't look at this, so I'm going to put it on others. I'm going to put my demons on others. It's wild. The problem with stolen intelligence is the loss of consciousness. Fuck you. You're probably right, Eric. Eric the Great. Believing in determinism is pointless because we are a part of the system. We will never be outside of it, which means we have a role to play. Believing in determinism is pointless. Really? I find it like very moving. No pun intended. It's very dynamic. Constantly moving. And here we are as humans just trying to make sense of it, or assuming we can make sense of it when really it's cutting us off from like the actual realization, the actual truth. But man, there's so much freedom and freedom from like chains, ironically, when you realize you have less control than you think, or there's a reason you're projecting. Maybe it wasn't your decision, but how you, with the knowledge, how are you going to set up that causal chain to push you through success? Honestly, like the most successful people in the world are operating from like an integral perspective, which is combining concepts of determinism, understanding of like developmental stages, perspectives, and it skyrockets people in the right direction, into a holistic perspective, way new perspective. You don't even have to do drugs. You know, there were the enlightened folks that are like ayahuasca and shit. There's a new version, baby. I don't know. There's such a when you realize that God, the God that you look to, if you look to a God, is you, and not in an egocentric way. It's a very enlightening, and like wholesome perspective. It makes you appreciate, makes you look at the trees a little nicer, you know? But let's react to the fucking video before I go on a tangent. Again, how far along are we? Who knows? Should I go over this part first? Tariq is going to go first, and he's going to say maybe some concepts you're unfamiliar with, but just remember that the overall consensus is it is logically inconsistent to believe in both free will and an omnipotent God. Then I was under the impression, because I missed part of what he said, it's like, so I was assuming that, how do I word this? I was assuming that they were a determinist who was critiquing like the concept of God. If God is all knowing, or I'm sorry, if God can, what was it? If God can make choices, if God can, hold on, ow, if God can, I forgot. I went too fucking deep. I'm too dense. Did I lose connection? Even when California goes, Yellowstone goes. So we mine the fault lines at the Salton Sea for lithium and subsidize electric cars for Econ? Nothing would exist without the sun. True. Do you guys know how much energy is given to the earth? Patrick says, if we would be able to understand it, you could call the world conscious of itself. Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. I'm asleep on that one. I think you just sparked a Substack title. Does the romantic love is selfish desire know why you seek it, dear? I would say most people are operating from a selfish perspective under the guise that they're morally superior. But until people integrate, that's when like true selflessness emerges. Anti-theist, guess what, chat? I know the mind of God, and sadly, Christianity is way off. It's very egocentric. You're putting the demons in the world. I'm just kidding. The truth is, if we want to keep moving up in society, which I would like to, thank you. I need everybody to get on board. Everybody, or at least 10%. Then the world we create for you becomes better spiritually and everything. But we have to be able to, if we want to get rid of an entire population, or greater than that believes in religion because we believe it not to be true, that's regressive. But at the same time, operating just with religion taking over America, okay, also regressive. What can we take from each in order to, it's not like, oh, let's make it better and be so like thoughtful of all the perspective. No, it's necessary in order to actually evolve consciously. Okay, I've had to deal with this crazy shit for almost 9 years. Okay, the more that we put this out there, the more I see it coming back. And maybe I'm superstitious. It's possible. I don't know. When you make the claim that you yourself is godlike, that's what Satanists believe when they state hail Satan, they are praising themselves. You're funny. Thank you for the super chat. You're funny. Anytime somebody who's hold on, when you make the claim that you yourself is godlike. So I hear what you're saying, but that's still operating with power. Projection creates a different reality that shapes what people are doing so much. Powerful, right? I don't believe evil exists. Satanists, for instance, there's not, for me to be a Satanist, in the right conditions, I could be. But I could also, in the right conditions, be Latter-day Saints, a new woman, okay? All of the sorts. It's just takes an environment. Your eyebrows are powerful. Do you mind? Okay, I know I don't feel pretty unless I draw a line through them. Patrick says, yes and no. There are many subjects to Satan, but this kingdom belongs to God and his knights. I don't know. When you guys say kingdom, it's giving, is kingdom earth? like where we are presently. It's giving territorial. I'm kidding. Satan exists, but God does not exist, because in Latin word, that means outside of the self. Yes, so when people project, it's outside of themselves. Whoa, I didn't know that in Latin, exist is outside of the self. I hate it when I'm right. God. I'm on to something, okay? My girlfriend cheated on me. I'm so sorry. So sorry. That's horrible. Kingdom as our realm of our life. Deliver us from evil. Ironically, hoping that they'll do it hoping God will deliver you from evil when all you have to do is deliver it from yourself. Oh, the beauty and oneness. I love it. Remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the devil a fallen angel? Goosebumps, right? Or is that just me? It's like, so you're telling me that he was something so close to being good and whole and fell off? What do you do? I didn't do that. Pfft, demoted. I'm just kidding. It's fucked up. No regrets. Is it? Yes, that's correct according to the doctrine. What did he do exactly? Satan is like a light. CJ says Satan is like a light body that we live inside of. If you're on Earth, you're technically satanic by default. Satan distorts reality, literally and figuratively. And it's so like Satan to be so covert in getting people to operate with it. That's why people fear it often. But if you realize that they change it, they change themselves, they morph themselves, they disguise themselves, the only way to get rid of it is to account for it. Then there's no power dynamic, if you think about it that way. It's like Satan would want you to put out evil in the world by making you believe that by doing it this way, shame on them for doing that. That's so immoral. You're just putting out the evil more. You're perpetuating it. See how that works? But if you account for evil parts of yourself, because we're all connected, then it can't do that. It can't. But then you end up seeing the world and how people construct this reality. And it's like, wake up. You're doing it to yourself, you know? And it's like, why don't people do those things? Because they operate from an ego. Don't. We always want to be right. Well, I don't know. Right or liked? Because they want to be liked. Well, I woke up and I liked myself today. Your like was extra. Just kidding. But like, people are, everybody's creating a false sense of self that is absolutely distorting their reality. And like psychologists know this, but they're operating on the same paradigm too. You should be able to find a self-aware one. It's like, do you want a religious therapist, non-religious? I want a self-aware one. That's all I want. I want to know the demons and what you did with that, like Prometheus, you know, the anti-hero. You got to know darkness in order to combat it. It's like a thief that can recognize a thief. But we frame them. We're like, only a thief would recognize a thief. Yeah, but we need those people. Because people are so ignorant. You know? I don't know. I'm spewing. I want to self-aware everything. Isn't Satan a subset of God? It's possible, James. Organically, I like to just spew realizations that come to my brain. That might be something that people say in other religions. I'm finding that a lot of the stuff I spew, people come back to me telling me I would like Buddhism. So I don't know if like subset of God, is that like a Buddhist thing? I don't know. Is it a religious thing? I don't know. I'm just the vessel, y'all. Feelings have absolutely destroyed humanity and made the little guy tough because that joke never gets old. Then everyone wonders why short guys are assholes. Eric. Jealousy and envy comes from projecting height. That's another thing, is like when you realize that what you hate in somebody is something that you hate in yourself. If you can figure it out, not you specifically, just people in general, if you can figure out what that is, because it's usually the opposite. It becomes easier once you keep doing it. You realize that like people tell on themselves. And so you end up not taking anything personally in a detrimental way anymore. And you foster like a different approach. At least I think. I don't know. Star Wars was based... I've only seen Spaceballs. Have you guys seen the Hear Me Out cakes on TikTok? And it's people... Oh my God, it's so funny. People got this cake and they have sticks. They have like 5 sticks with little printouts on them, and they hide them. And like they switch off between people, and it's like Hear Me Out. And they put a character that they found was sexy. It's like Hear Me Out. And then it's like that fish from Nemo. Or like Hear Me Out, Benjamin Franklin on the dollar or 100. Or like Hear Me Out, Buster Baxter. It's like so funny. But anyways, Star Wars was based on Buddhism. I was thinking about the other day, if I did the hear me out cake, I would put a Pizza the Hut. I've never seen Star Wars, but I've seen Spaceballs. It's one of my favorites. Hello, my lady. Hello, my honey. Ah! Fuck. Okay, anyways. Diego. Diego. Spaceballs is such a classic. I love it. Hello, my lady. Hello, my honey. Hello, my da da da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. It means if you look around and see other people, you're in hell. Are you? So you're putting blame on the other people? If you, oh wait, because they're chained. I see you, CJ. It means if you look around and see other people, you're in hell. Meaning that people projected and created the false reality. Are we saying the same thing? But you're saying it better? Or are you saying something totally different? And I'm changing it. Religion be like, sorry, comb the desert. Oh my God. I remember that was one of the movies we got on Christmas. We would all get different ones, and that would be our movie for the car that had the DVD player. We were one of the firsts. Okay. And I remember we watched that movie nonstop, which is like kind of fucked up. We were young. That and Jaws. Wild. Did you see Alien? That's a spoof of Alien. I know. I haven't, but I people have told me that because I think you told me that before. You were like, you know that Alien. I was like, I know that now. I want to dress up. What's the name of the guy that looks like a dog? I want to dress up as him. That would be a good costume for Halloween. Has anybody ever done that costume? Oh, that'd be fucking funny. CJ says, like, we're all the same thing, just stuck in different bodies. And we have all these problems because we're separate. Correct. Yeah. We have to integrate. And then you become one. It's like easier said than done. No, it's like literally that easy. Okay. Jaws was good, but always funny to me in a way that upset everyone else watching. Okay, seriously, like if you've seen all of the Jaws, I encourage you to go watch the shark attack in the first one. Wild. It's so obviously fake. You know, Poltergeist was ahead of its time, and we don't talk about it enough. Okay. That was arguably one of the best 80s like horror film. You know, that was a good one. Iconic. Yeah, Barf was his name. Yes. Okay, my stomach's growling. I'm so hungry. We haven't reacted to the video yet, but I want to get Prontos on here too, so we can. I want to see if I can do spiral dynamics, but with memes. And so whatever meme you resonate with in your current circumstance is like what level you would hypothetically be at, and it gives you sort of a framework on how to move to the next level, like video games. Ironic. Short for Bartholomew. Yes. Wait, wait. Barf the Mog, half man, half dog. See, like, I watched this movie nonstop when I was a kid. Okay, I was unmedicated, but I love when people this like nostalgic for me. Be sure to give me the StreamYard. You're such a female. James. Be sweet. I see Pizza the Hut and he had a piece of pepperoni and just like really grossly fall down. I can feel it. Gross. The shark attack. Oh shit. Wait. Oh, the rewatch. Yes. Yeah. Baby. Okay. I'm gonna go eat something, then come back. Yes. I think so. I think. Okay. I'm going to make some chicken. Okay. Some bland chicken. I tried to make a honey brown sugar glaze and then like wrap it, bake it with lemon. I didn't like it. I didn't like the sauce. It kind of got burnt. Dang it! Growth, baby. Like the video, comment, subscribe to watch the evolution of either me losing my brain or just being enlightened. Okay, love you, bye.